Good morning from an absolutely freezing Hothead here in Dublin, where we're looking at the brand new Hyundai, or there's probably another way to call it, new Kona, but it's the EV. So this is a very interesting electric car. First of all, it looks a lot better than it used to. I mean, look at this light bar across the front and the light bar across the back. And the previous Kona I had on the channel had black wheel housing. It's gone on this. Looks a lot smarter, doesn't it? There's two trims you can get in Ireland. All cars come with heat pumps as standard. And actually, I'll tell you what a heat pump is in a few minutes if you're not quite sure. There's lots of things in this car that I think kind of blows a lot of other Irish EVs out of the water. Welcome to Nobby on Cars. What I mean with that is there's clever things in this car. The charging port at the front here is heated, so that can be opened at temperatures up to minus 30 degrees. Speaking of which, fast charging, 101 kilowatts on DC, 11 kilowatt on board for AC, which means you've got charging options. Again, some EVs only come with 7. This second generation Kona is longer, wider, it's taller, and it's got a 60mm longer wheelbase, which means there's more space inside for passengers, particularly in the rear. That's a huge improvement on the previous version. This car is sitting on some aerodynamic style alloy wheels. There are better ones available, I won't lie to you. The crease, I think it's called the belt line, so it goes right the way up the side of the car. We have roof rails, a little bit of chrome on the side. It's not a bad looking package. Around the back we have this lovely light bar as well. I'm still a little bit confused as to why they put the brake lights so low in these cars. I mean, I know there's this one here, but take the Tucson for example, it seems odd. Lovely silver spoiler here. We have a wiper. Imagine paying all this money for your car and you get a wiper. No electric boot on the highest spec car, but this version comes with some netting that will pin everything down. There's storage under here for your cables. It's a pretty good boot size as well. Like, this is bigger than a lot of the opposition. Certainly bigger than an Atto 3. I like it. So yeah, the ante has been upped in the back of the car. There's more leg room, there's decent charging options with 2 USB-Cs. You get your own air vents. There's even an armrest. And again, at the entry price of this car, some cars don't get that. But the big improvement is certainly leg room, because the last Kona was a little bit squished in the back. Not going to be the case for this, and the same with the head height. There is absolutely tons of it. And space for your kids, if you have to bring them with you. First things first, I find it very easy to get in and out of. Steering wheel doesn't hit off your knees. And then we need to talk about a couple of things. Well, first of all, if you want to put this car into reverse, you get a nice overview, depending again on what spec you have. The highest spec gets all this stuff. Good quality reversing camera. And then the real big selling point for the Kona, even more so than the Ioniq 6 and 5, is there's just so many physical buttons. Yes, you can do it all through the touch screen if you wish, but equally you can do it from here. Shortcut things to stuff like your maps that you just want to get quickly, and they'll pop up. This car has a head-up display. It's really crisp. There's no pop-up screen. It's actually projected onto the windscreen. Again, for the price, it's pretty impressive. Instrument cluster, very familiar by now to Hyundai, but this spec of car, again, if you put on your indicator, you get a blind spot view projected on a camera. It's very good during the day. It gets a little bit kind of grainy at night time. And because everything is shoved forward, like for example your gear selector is down here underneath the wiper stalk, you have all this extra space here for drinks, mobile phone charging, plenty of USB-C charging options. You've got more physical buttons for your heated seats and steering wheel down here. So you really are, if you like buttons, just buy this car because you really love it. Again, hopefully you can see this on the camera, but you have this kind of 3G projection of the car that helps you maneuver in tight parking situations. I find the seats comfortable. There's not a huge amount of bolsters now on the side of them to hold you into place or whatever, but they're nice, really toasty with these heated seats on, and you've got further buttons controlling lots, including your radar cruise control on your steering wheel. And there is a sneaky little infrared sensor here keeping an eye on the driver. I mean, it does its job, what it's meant to do, but if you, for example, have your arm like this even at a traffic junction resting, you'll get a beep to say, "Can't see your face, pal." And it's just, it gets annoying. Of course, you can time your charging, your departures in the morning, all that stuff is easy to do, and there's the Hyundai app that you can mess around with as well. So there's really no excuses. It's a doddle to use. And you're also further aided by all these different video angles and cameras, and it just works very well. This car also has blind spot, so the frontal collision avoidance, the ability to spot something behind the car and apply the brakes. I will say the frontal collision avoidance can be a little bit too eager sometimes. You know, you're getting a little bit close to the car in front, just in stop-start traffic. You're not going to hit the car, but the car slams the brakes, and from behind you probably look like a bit of an idiot. One thing the previous gen Kona was accused of, and kind of rightly so, was it was hard, particularly in the wet, to get the power through the front wheels. Now this version, it's a greasy road. I felt a little bit of slip there as I accelerate hard. Not a huge amount of it, and definitely not enough that it's going to cause problems for you. Now when you do again hard accelerate, whether it's wet or dry, you'll feel ever so slight torque steer the faster you go. But by and large, the engineers have done a good job at this, so it's actually a little bit less powerful than the last version of the Kona to achieve this, believe it or not. No real sort of noise from the outside world in terms of A-pillars and stuff like that. I will see the tyres, and again, that can always depend on what tyres are fitted to the car. There's enough road noise going on from them, but apart from that, it's very, very quiet. Seems to be doing, and that's with hard enough driving and cold enough conditions, 18 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. There's the figure down there for my lovely UK people. And that's all right. I mean, you could better that. There is no doubt about it. I reckon I saw the Ioniq 6 doing 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Now, the design of this car is not as smooth as that. But I reckon sort of 15, particularly in the summertime, particularly if you've got a little gentler right foot, easy to achieve. This car does, of course, have iPedal, which means it's one pedal driving. It's the most severe level of regen. You've got 3 other levels of it as well, and Hyundai have still kept that with the paddles on the steering wheel here, so it makes life very, very easy. It's a very, very smooth ride. They've done a great job on that too. I mean, yes, the compensation, the trade-off is there's a little bit of body roll, not a huge amount of it, but you do feel the weight of the car. But again, this car is not really for that, and it's more about comfort. And I'm driving on many, many surfaces on this road here. Welcome to Ireland. There's potholes. It's not a great road surface, and the suspension is just taking it in its stride. It's still very, very smooth. It's a supple enough ride. So they've done a great job there also. It's like, as a car that you don't want to be kind of shaking around in, it's achieved that. The main issue are the bongs. You have to reset the bongs every time you get into the car. So you can still have your speed sign recognition in front of you, but there's an audible level as well. So I'll see if I can demonstrate this for you, and it's easy enough to do on the move. By the way, there's quite a stretch there to the screen. And I'm not sitting that far back. Click on speed limit assist. Okay, straight away it's telling me, oh, now I'm doing 32 and at 50, so I don't know what that's about, but it is a school zone. So get used to a lot of that, but you can turn it off. Now if you turn it off fully, you lose the ability for it to see what zone you're in, but if you just use speed limit information, it's alright. Now the infrared thing is flashing at me as well to say you're not looking out the window because I'm looking at the screen, but modern cars today. It is just a joy to drive. I had a cross-city dart in this thing last night from Portmarnock to Blanchardstown, and this thing was just zipping along. The amount of power is more than enough. It's fast. It is a fast little EV. And because it's so smooth, it just kind of encourages you to, push it on when conditions allow, if you need to get somewhere in a hurry. I really think the Kona EV is in so many ways the one to beat. Even the price, I mean, it's still from mid-30s. if you want to get a new one. And you know, it has stuff on board, like it's got the heat pump, right? And I said earlier on, I'll tell you what that is. So basically it uses an additional source of power, and it's not going to zap your battery range to heat the car. So when you get in and, you know, you want everything on, you want your heated seats on, your climate on, you want all this stuff, it takes care of that, and it's not using the range of the car to achieve that. What it also has is battery preconditioning, and a lot of cars don't have this. For example, the ID3 doesn't have this. So if you need to charge and you're at maybe 50%, but you know you're going on a longer journey, you can tell the car you're about to charge, and it will precondition the battery and get it to the optimum temperature to charge, because there's so many terms and conditions that come. What do you mean you just want to charge the car? Oh no, sir or madam. You need the curve, you need the battery curve to be as big as possible to get the fastest charge in. But hang on, your battery isn't warm enough to do that. Okay, well, the car will say, right, heat yourself up there, pal, because we need to charge. And there's all these little things that are just on this car. And even if you go for the higher spec with the higher price, it's still not bonkers money by comparison to so many others. Here we go over our level crossing, and it's still very comfortable. So I'm impressed. I really like this, and I think the exterior of this is obviously a lot smarter than the previous Kona we had on the channel. Those black housing things are not great, in fairness. Time for my summary. The all-new Kona. What can I say? It's got practical use. It's got decent charging speed. It's really efficient. It looks a lot better. And if I could just take away those bongs that really won't shut up, I think it would be the perfect family EV. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.